Welcome to part 2, everybody, where in this video I'm going to be taking a look at numbers 7 through 11, and we'll be able to finish off the Classic Series retrospective. Hope you guys enjoy this review. The plot of Mega Man 7 is that after Wily was sent to jail, he had a backup plan of 4 Robot Masters running loose, and after Mega Man encounters Bass, another creation of Dr. Wily, Mega Man takes it upon himself to stop the Mad Doctor once again. Oh yeah, halfway through the game, after beating the 4 Robot Masters, Wily goes to the Robot Museum, which is a nice callback to the previous games, though it's odd that Dr. Wily doesn't decide to pull a masked figure from Scooby-Doo 2 and steal a whole bunch of them for a robot army. He only takes Gutsman with him, and 4 more Robot Masters come in because, of course. So, with that, you probably know the gist of it, so I'll just go on to the other stuff. In terms of graphics and sound, we're now on the Super Nintendo, and dear God, this is a jump above the previous games in terms of quality, because this game looks really great, even today. All the sprite works look great, and the music is also good. I don't have a favorite track per se, I just think all of them are pretty fun to listen to. With the gameplay, Mega Man plays how he did in the previous games. You can run, gun, slide, jump, and charge up shots for higher damage against enemies. There's also a shop where by collecting bolts in levels, which count as the game's currency, you can buy stuff like extra lives and other things like E-tanks. But there is one other thing about the gameplay with Rush. Sure, yeah, he does have his standard stuff like Rush Jet and Rush Coil, but he has new abilities such as the Rush Search, and also, if you collect 4 letters, those spelling Rush, you get the Rush Adapter, which is amazing. Pretty much, it allows you to fly in the air for a short period and charges a Super Punch. It's like a combination of the power and jet adapter from Mega Man 6, and it's so much fun to play around with. In terms of levels, this is probably my favorite so far in terms of the Classic Series. My personal favorites being Slash Man, Turbo Man, and Shade Man. With Slash Man, you wouldn't expect a robot that's a mixture of a Super Saiyan and Wolverine to get a Jurassic Park themed level, but it's a blast to play through. My favorite part being running from the giant robot T-Rex. With Shade Man, it reminds me of Castlevania, despite not playing a single game from that series. But you know what? I like the horror aesthetic, and it had a lot of fun. My favorite being the pumpkin mini-boss. Oh, and also the Ghost and Goblins Easter egg in it. Just don't tell someone call me Johnny. For Turbo Man, it's a garage, and it's a lot of fun, except for the fire. But hey, there's a nice callback to Quick Man stage for Mega Man 2. For the others, I actually enjoyed Spring Man stage, since while yes, it's just bouncing around, it's a lot of fun for me, unlike Bounce Man from Mega Man 11. With Freeze Man, despite having ice physics, it wasn't so bad. Cloud Man's level, only issue I have is a stupid weather robot, that there are invisible block around. As for Junk Man, I had fun, especially with the freeze cracker to freeze the flames. And finally, Burst Man. He might be my least favorite. I wasn't a big fan of the water sections, but overall, I didn't have a fantastic time. Also, in terms of their boss fights, they suffer from Spark Mandrill syndrome, where if you hit them with their weakness, they'll freeze, leaving you to hit them again. Oh yeah, in terms of their weapons, they're a pretty good selection, my favorite being the Slash Claw, and also actually the Junk Shield. I don't know, I had a lot of fun with that ability. The other items, they were okay, really. When it came to the Wily Castle stages, I thought they were a fun challenge. I don't think any of them are bad levels. The highlight of them are the boss fights against Bass, where he uses his own robot companion, known as Treble, into his own version of the Super Adapter, and it's a great battle of equals. However, Wily Capsule 7, and while yes, I know everyone has complained about this boss, I'm gonna say it anyway, screw this boss fight. Thankfully, after grinding for bolts in Auto Shop, and saving the 4 E-tanks, I was able to win. But pretty much, with Capsule 7, will disappear and reappear and shoot 4 energy balls that they range from fire and ice that stagger you to simple electric balls that do normal damage. I legit almost rage quit, and it's sad that this game up to this point has been my favorite in the Classic Series. But when you beat Wily 7, you get an awesome credit shot of Mega Man walking away from the fire of Wily's exploding castle. Overall, Mega Man 7, while it's so far my favorite classic game, it did have its problems at the very end, which does leave on a sour note, but I still had a great time with it, and I still love this game. Now, as for Mega Man 8, this was the 10th anniversary game in the franchise. So, is it a good one? Let's find out. The plot of the game is that there are two mysterious robots fighting in outer space before they crash down on Earth, while Mega Man is dealing with Base, and after they defeat him, he finds the robot and decides to check it out. However, it has dark energy and Dr. Wily steals it, so Mega Man has to stop the Mad Doctor again. Now let's talk about the presentation. We're now on the Sega Saturn and the PS1, and the graphics look pretty good. I do slightly prefer the graphics in Mega Man 7, but this ain't half bad. All the character animations are great and it's just fun to look at. But let's talk about the big elephant in the room. The voice acting.
We may be able to locate another energy emission from the radar room. When we find that meteor, we'll find Dr. Wily.
Do I even need to talk about it? You know it's bad, I know it's bad, let's just move on. In terms of gameplay, you know the rest. You slide, you jump, you charge your shots, bada bing, bada boom. However, they add a new ability to Mega Man. He can swim! Oh yeah, auto shop returns, except you get pointless abilities like climbing up a ladder faster. Who bought this? Who thought that was a good idea? Oh yeah, you know E-Tanks? Those are gone. So yeah, enjoy having to go through this game without E-Tanks. Thankfully, I'm not playing Mega Man in base. Oh yeah, Rush has new abilities this time around, but honestly, I only really used one of them, that being the Rush Shield for the final boss, because, I'm sorry, I didn't really use the Rush Motorcycle ability until the very end, because I forgot it existed. I'm not joking. But anyway, let's talk about the levels in this game. Much like 7, you start off with 4 Robot Masters. With Grenade Man, he had a pretty fun level. I do like how you had to explode the capsules in order to progress, and some decent platforming. With Frost Man, his stage is one that you're either going to hate or enjoy. Now, the look of the level is nice, but screw the sled section. It reminds me of the Mach Speed stages from Sonic 06, where one mistake and you're screwed, and it gets really annoying with the ice platforms. The other half is decent except for the ice that shoots out. Like, seriously, you could be running and blam, out of nowhere. Clown Man, I actually enjoyed his stage. I like the carnival theme with the trains you can jump on, and pretty fun puzzles with platforming. I also enjoyed the Iceman and Gutsman cameo in the level, even if Clown Man grabs Mega Man by his no-no square. Like, seriously, bad touch, Clown Man. Tengu Man is my personal favorite. It's an air shooter level, but it's a lot of fun, since you can collect squares that have Beat, Eddy, and Auto and Rush that'll help you. My only issue is that the wind can be a serious pain in the ass, sometimes in regard to platforming. After those 4, you have a mid-game boss against Duo, the robot from the beginning, and even though you beat him as a boss, you still lose in the game with the most annoying screams I've ever heard in a video game. Then the other 4 Robot Masters show up. I'll talk about Swordman and Astroman first. Astroman has my least favorite stage in the game. Amaze, I had to look up a guide in order to progress, because, you know the Mega Ball? Oh, sorry, I haven't brought that up, but Mega Man has a new weapon, the Mega Ball, and it is so useless, but it's required twice in the game. Once it's here, where it can be used for double jumping, but you have to have pixel perfect accuracy in order to use it. Oh, and on the outside you have reappearing and disappearing blocks. While you're doing that, every enemy is jumping out of bottomless pits or shooting at you. It gets really annoying really fast. If you didn't get that part from Auto Shop that prevents knockback, but even then, by the time you're hit, you'll be sent into the bottomless pit anyway. As for Swordman, the first half can screw off, as it's 4 gauntlets that you have to go through. My least favorite being the bottom one, as it's completely random, and if you press the wrong button, enemies will come out and you'll have to restart all over again. As for the others, Aquaman stage isn't that bad in my opinion, the swimming controls aren't that bad, and I mainly have some fun with the enemies. Finally, there's Searchman, who was a decent level. My favorite part is using the flame sword to cut through the wires. I don't have much to say other than it's an okay level. As per the weapons, the only ones I really had a kick out of were Swordman's, Astroman's, and Grenade Man's. With Astroman, it was a fun weapon to use since it was pretty much a Giga Crush from Mega Man X, where it's a screen nuke that destroys all the enemies in your way. But then there's the Wily stages. The first one is easily the worst Wily stage in any Mega Man game. This snowboard section that's a massive pain in the ass, as you will see the game over screen at least once. And it only gets worse because in the second part it involves using the Thunderclaw to go across the place like Tarzan when you're getting attacked by enemies, and in the final part is a boss where in order to hit it, you need to use the Mega Ball. And guess what? Sometimes the ball won't even hit because it goes all over the place. The second castle is actually my favorite since it's a mid-air dogfight and the boss isn't that bad. The third castle has spike pits and bombs that you need to platform on, with two bosses, the first being Base, and he's pathetically easy, which is sad since in 7 he had my favorite boss fight. But in here, despite being powered up with dark energy, he has 3 attacks that are easy to avoid. Then there's the Green Devil fight, which is also easy. Finally, we have the fourth castle, where it's a boss rush followed by a 2-phase final boss with Dr. Wily. The first phase, you can jump over or slide under his saw blades, and when he opens his mouth for a laser cannon, you can hit him with a powerful blow, and he'll close his jaw. Then for the final phase, you need to dodge energy balls and hit him on the red button underneath this capsule. And that's the end of Mega Man 8. Overall, this game is my least favorite alongside the first game in terms of the classic series. It's just not a game I really want to go back to, and despite having a lot of good things, it has also a lot of things I just don't enjoy. It's not a bad game, but it's certainly one I won't be revisiting anytime soon. Now let's move on to Mega Man 9. On to Mega Man 9. 8 Robot Masters run amok while Dr. Light gets framed by Dr. Wily. And before you say that's a spoiler, no, even the characters know this is bullcrap. So it's up to Mega Man to prove Dr. Light's innocence while also stopping Dr. Wily, yada yada yada, you get the drill at this point. The only time the story gets interesting is that after a couple of Robot Masters, it's revealed that the reason why the Robot Masters are working for Wily is because they have an expiration date, and when that expiration date passes, they all die. So Wily uses that to his advantage to trick them into doing activities for him so that way they don't get destroyed. That's actually an interesting idea, but since this isn't the X series, nothing really comes out of it except for the ending, but we'll get onto that later. Now, in terms of the graphics and music, they went back to the 8-bit style of the old games, and I'll be honest, I am very mixed on this. Because, yes, I do see the appeal of wanting to appeal to the old fans, but at the same time, I thought that 7 and 8 look really good. Despite my problems with 8, it had fantastic graphics. But with this, I do feel as if it's kind of a regression. I do think the sprite animation is still solid, and the characters look good, but I don't know, a part of me would have preferred the modern art style, but for what it is, it looks pretty good. For the music, on the other hand, it's fantastic. I don't think I have a favorite track in the game. I think all the tracks are really well done. The only track I dislike outright is the menu theme. That track just gets really old, really fast, and I don't like it. Now, in terms of gameplay, they went back to the style of Mega Man 1 and 2. You can run, jump, shoot. However, Mega Man can't slide or charge his shot, which I'll admit is pretty sad. I actually really had fun using the charge shot and the slide about equally in the past few games, so it does make me sad that they decided to remove it. However, I am willing to cut it some slack since the game was built around this, and honestly, I didn't have much problems without them. Oh yeah, Auto Shop returns from this game, and thank God you can buy energy tanks again, so make sure to buy them with the Jewel Satellite. But in terms of the weapons that Mega Man gets from the Robot Masters, all of them are great weapons in my opinion. The Tornado from Tornado Man is a screen nuke that also helps out with platforming. The Jewel Satellite is easily the best shield weapon in the entirety of the classic series. It doesn't go away unless you fire it or you hit Plugman with it. Then, there's also the Hornet Chaser. This is probably my favorite weapon in the game, since if you fire multiple Hornets at once and they destroy an enemy, they will bring the item back to you if that enemy was carrying an item. So that means extra lives, baby. And it can also be good for getting other items that are out of reach because you don't have the slide, or there are no platforms in order to get it. Seriously, the Hornet Chaser is my favorite weapon in the game. Then there's also my another favorite weapon, the Laser Trident. It works like a charged Mega Buster shot, except you can fire 3 at a time and it destroys Crate. Now, I do enjoy the other weapons, except for Plugman's weapon. It's kinda pathetic. But other than that, the other weapons, while I won't talk about them much, I thought they were really good additions to the game. Now, in terms of the levels, they were also pretty fun. My personal favorites are Galaxy Man, Flash Woman. Yes, there is now a female Robot Master, and it only took them 9 games. Well, 10 if you count Mega Man and Baze, which they do count by the ending of the game, but we'll talk about that later. And also, my other favorite level in the game is Tornado Man stage. All levels, I think, do a good job of platforming and challenging Mega Man's skills. And I don't know, I just think all of them were fun to play through. I don't really have a least favorite level in the game, but I will say, Plugman, I did find the way to defeat him. I did it! As for the Wily levels, I think they were enjoyable. My only issue is this one segment underwater. This part can go screw itself, because you have to make very tight platforming or else you'll hit the spikes. Also, you need to make sure that you jump at the right angle or else you'll hit the spikes. At the very least, the final boss is actually pretty fun. But when you end the game, you actually get this really funny cutscene of Mega Man showing Wily all of his past defeats, which is admittedly humorous, until Dr. Wily shows the fake Dr. Light, and Mega Man is about to die until Proto Man saves the day. Are we sure he isn't the main character of this franchise? I mean, he saves Mega Man a lot throughout these games, but the game does end on a happy note, as all the Robot Masters that were going to get destroyed found new ways of being able to help out society, thus ending Mega Man 9. And it's a charming throwback to the previous games. I don't think it's the best game in the series, but I do see it as a lot of fun. Who knows, maybe I'll go back to it sometime, but I would consider it one of my top 3 at this time. Anyway, on to Mega Man 10. The plot of the game is that there's a new virus known as the Robo-Enza virus that is corrupting robots and making them go maverick. Oh wait, sorry, that's the X series, I'm not supposed to use that term yet. But it's causing them to malfunction and go haywire. Mega Man expects it to be Dr. Wily, but Dr. Wily tells him that no, it's not me, I'm making a cure. So they go along with it alongside Proto Man, and after a couple levels defeating the 8 Robot Masters, guess what? It's Dr. Wily who created the virus because he wanted the infected robots to work for him. Oh yeah, Bass is also in the game, he wants to challenge the robots, so that's why he's doing all this. So that's the plot of Mega Man 10, and I must say, it's a good story. Oh yeah, Roll also got infected with the virus. I forgot to mention that. But anywho, now in terms of graphics and sound, the graphics are the same as in Mega Man 9. But I will admit, it is really cool to see Bass in 8-bit sprites for the first time. Now in terms of the soundtrack, it's as good as always, not much to discuss. Now in terms of gameplay, you can play as Mega Man, who plays exactly like he did in Mega Man 9, so nothing really to talk about there. Proto Man, who has the slide and charge shot, and is the super hard mode of the game alongside Mega Man 9. Oh wait, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, in Mega Man 9, there was a challenge mode for him where he had his own playthrough, but I didn't do a playthrough and I decided to save it for this game, where I played it on easy mode. Why? Because he takes double damage, and even though he has the slide and charge shot, he can get pretty annoying to play with, especially since, again, he's a glass tank. So, no wonder why Mega Man didn't have the slide and charge shot. We all know what happened to that. Now, in terms of Bass, on the other hand, now, he was playable in Mega Man and Bass, but let me talk about the gameplay he has. He can shoot in multiple directions, but he can only shoot while he's standing still, so he can't just run and shoot. He can also dash like Mega Man X, and he also has access to treble, which he can use like a super adapter, which is pretty cool. Now, the one thing that he doesn't have from Mega Man and Bass is that he doesn't have his double jump, which is weird, but I can roll with it. Now, I do think overall, all 3 of the characters are good to play as, and I also do like how each of them have their own chops. As for the weapons, I thought all of them were pretty enjoyable. I like Pump Man's weapon, I like Solar Man's weapon, I like Sheep Man's weapon, I like Blade Man's weapon, and I also got a kick out of Strike Man's weapon. Now, in terms of the levels, I think they're also pretty fun. I actually had a really fun time with Strike Man's level because I thought it was actually pretty clever. Like, seriously, enemy lockers, that's pretty genius. Some of the other levels I thought were pretty fun too, like Sheep Man's level, Nitro Man's level, and I also actually got a kick out of Commando Man's level. And in Chill Man, however, do have one problem in their second half. With Blade Man, it's the stupid section where you have to jump back and forth on this conveyor belt in order to move, and with Chill Man, it's the section where you're trying to get across, but thanks to ice physics and enemies, you'll probably fall into the bottomless pit and die. But overall, these aren't bad levels in my opinion. Then there's the Wily Castle stages, and you know what? Despite going through them 3 separate times, I actually had fun with them. No joke, I thought they were pretty enjoyable, though they can be a bit of a marathon sometimes. Though I will say, easily my favorite part about these was the boss battle against the Archive Machine, since it actually lets you use your weapons to counteract previous Robot Masters. And we also got to see sprite versions of some of the Robot Masters from Mega Man 7 8. That's pretty genius. After the final boss with Dr. Wily, which is also pretty fun, you get this scene where Dr. Wily, even though he's in space and should probably be dead, somehow able to breathe. But he somehow gets the flu, and when you visit him in his hospital bed, he leaves a trail of robo-insecures for everyone. So at the very least, he's not a total a-hole, thus ending Mega Man 10. And overall, I thought it was pretty good. I was a bit burned out because I had to play the game 3 times per each character. Well, actually 1 per each, but you get the gist. And overall, I don't think it's as good as 9, but I think it's a solid game in and of itself. Now we're on to the final game of the video, Mega Man 11. So for Mega Man 11, the plot of the game is that it opens with what happened between Dr. Light and Dr. Wily, what caused them to break up, because Dr. Wily had a double gear system, but the council didn't approve of it, and he was not given the rank of scientist. So because of that, he left, only to wake up, and I must say, his pajamas are pretty hilarious. So Dr. Wily, after God knows how many years, decides, why not I use that double gear system again? And he used it to kidnap all of Dr. Light's robots, except for Mega Man and Roll. You think he should also kidnap Mega Man and brainwash him since, you know, he doesn't have his armor on and he could easily be free for the taking. But nope, only takes 8 Robot Masters, because of course, and Mega Man begs Dr. Light in order to use the double gear system in order to fight back against Dr. Wily. Overall, I think the story is actually pretty good. It's nothing amazing, but it's nice to see what happened between Dr. Light and Dr. Wily. Now, in terms of the presentation, the game looks really good. It looks 2.5 in terms of graphics, but I must say the graphics look great, and it doesn't get rid of the charm of the previous games. The enemies have expressions to them, and they all look good, and all the Robot Masters look great as well. Now, there is one thing about this game that makes it stand out. It has actual good voice acting. Hallelujah, it's a miracle! Now, in terms of the voice acting, they have some really good voice actors, such as Ben Dixon as Mega Man.
I'll be back soon.
Erica Lindbeck as Roll.
I don't need a break, Otto. But hey, like I care.
Keith Silverstein as Dr. Wily, John Bailey, or as you guys probably know him as, the Honest Trailer Guy, voicing both Rush and Torchman, Chris Hackney voicing Otto and Blastman, and my main man, Todd Habercorn, voicing Fuseman. All the voice actors do a great job, and even the ones I didn't mention do a good job in terms of their performance. I don't have a single issue with them. I think all of them fit their roles really well. The only issue I have with Roll's voice acting is when you're in the shop. You see, 9, 10, and 11 have this one problem where you can't just buy a certain number of items at a time. You have to buy 1 item of each at one time. So that means even if you have enough bolts to buy 5 items, you can't, and you'll only have to buy 1 at a time, and you'll constantly have to hear Roll say this.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?
Shut up.
But even with that, I do think Erica does a good job as Roll. Now, in terms of the gameplay, well, Mega Man now has the charge shot and slide back again. Hallelujah, it's a miracle. And thanks to the 2 abilities, the speed gear and power gear, they are just better than ever in my opinion. Hell, I'll go down and say this is probably the best control Mega Man has had in all the classic games, alongside Mega Man 7. The speed gear, it slows down time, but also you for some reason, I don't know. But with the power gear, it helps your charge shots pack a little bit more oomph, and also if you charge it up fully, that means you get 2 charge shots for the price of 1. Genius! But make sure to watch that meter, because if it overflows, you'll have to cool it down in order to use them again. But it especially makes it fun to use with the power gear on your boss weapons. It creates full havoc on screen. A lot of these weapons are pretty fun to use, such as Bounce Man, Tundra Man, and of course Block Man being my personal favorite. Now, in terms of the stages, I thought they were also pretty fun to go through. The only stage I adamantly disliked was Bounce Man's level, because with Bounce Man, it gets really old really fast with the balloons, since you have enemies popping out of nowhere and it could lead to a death. And it gets really old really fast. Oh, and also you have to fight the same mini-boss twice! Hallelujah! Isn't that just fun? But at the very least, I enjoyed the other stages. Heck, one detail I actually do like is how in both Impact Man and in Acid Man, if you look in the background, you can actually see the Robot Masters before their fights. That's actually pretty clever. Also, I actually got a kick out of Torch Man stage. Sure, yeah, there is instant kill fire that you need to run from, but thanks to the speed gear, it actually helps you out, and it's not that big of a deal in my opinion. I also liked Blast Man for the Pac-Man reference. That was pretty cute. And also, Tundra Man is an ice level done right. Seriously, I think Tundra Man is probably my favorite level in the game, though Fuse Man might be my favorite Robot Master. I don't know, but still, I think those two are the best. Now, in terms of the Wily Castle stages, I thought they were also pretty fun, and I didn't really have much of a problem with them. Now, with Dr. Wily's final boss, after you defeat that, you get an ending where Otto and Dr. Light show up and save all the Robot Masters, and they all live as one big happy family. It's a pretty good game, and I do think it's a nice return to form for the classic series. I just had a few gripes with it in terms of some of the levels, like, again, with the stupidity of Bounce Man's level, but overall, I had a fun time with it. Maybe if I replay it again, it'll be an A tier game, but right now, it settles at a solid B tier. And to end this video, here is my official tier list for the classic series. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and see you all later. Bye.